50 kilometers south of Montreal sits Roxham Road, and since 2017, this formerly quiet corner of the Quebec-New York border has served as an informal gateway to Canada for upwards of 100,000 people who have unlawfully crossed the border to claim asylum here. The crossing of these people has been quite the political event here in Canada, but for anyone to make heads or tails of it, some questions need answering. Like, why would you try claiming asylum in the middle of nowhere instead of at an official point of entry? And why here, specifically? To understand what's been happening since 2017, we need to go back to the early 2000s, when, in the wake of 9/11, America and Canada signed the Safe Third Country Agreement, a treaty made to manage the flow of asylum seekers across their shared border. The STCA makes it so that asylum-seeking migrants must seek asylum in the country where they first arrive, such that if an asylum seeker from Paraguay first goes to America, they cannot then claim asylum through an official point of entry to Canada. They must instead claim asylum in the United States. Now, because Canada is a signatory to the UN's Refugee Convention, the Canadian government can't just go around preventing migrants from claiming asylum, or returning them to places where their lives or freedom would be threatened. So, the key to the STCA is that Canada has designated America as a safe third country, more or less making a formal evaluation that America has comparable protections and standards for asylum seekers, making it legally sound to refuse asylum for those entering Canada, because America's always there. Now, if you've been keeping score at home, you may have noticed the so-called loophole in this system, because the STCA didn't cover asylum seekers who entered Canada between official points of entry. So, to try and claim asylum here, people started entering Canada between official points of entry. And while Roxham Road isn't the only place where people have successfully entered the country to claim asylum, since 2017 it has easily been the most popular location for irregular crossings by asylum seekers. So, what changed in 2017? Well, it's important to acknowledge that every person who's used Roxham Road has their own story and motivations, and we really shouldn't make broad generalizations. That said, it's reasonable to say that the new immigration and refugee policies of the American government that took office in 2017 were an important factor for many of those who used Roxham Road. The reason Roxham Road itself is so popular seems to be a little unclear, but the most compelling reason I read was that Roxham Road is a convenient location to cross illegally. It's relatively close to major transportation hubs in New England and New York, and to Montreal's attractive immigrant communities. In terms of change over time, after a surge in August 2017, the number of asylum seekers using Roxham Road stabilized to around 1,400 crossers a month, or around 45 crossers a day, until March 2020, when really a small thing happened. Consequently, 2020 saw the federal government using the Quarantine Act, which prohibited the entry of most foreigners, to extend the STCA to the entirety of the US-Canada border, beyond just official points of entry, which meant that the loophole of places like Roxham Road was temporarily closed, and unlawful border crossings by asylum seekers pretty much ground to a halt in the early pandemic. But with the easing of pandemic-era travel restrictions in 2021, Roxham Road was able to reopen in November of that year. And the following year saw almost 40,000 crossings at Roxham Road, the largest number to cross in a single year thus far. And that's basically the story for now, because it's not like there's any secret agreement being signed in the background between two liberal democracies. Yeah? They made a secret agreement. When? On March 25th, 2023, the loophole that created Roxham Road was closed by a new border arrangement made between Canada and the United States. Basically, the two countries agreed to expand the Safe Third Country Agreement's jurisdiction to the entire Canadian border, not just official points of entry. This update to the Safe Third Country Agreement had been in the works for a while, and the actual deal was secretly made back in March 2022, with basically nobody in major news media or provincial governments knowing about it. Probably? And in June, the Supreme Court ruled that the Safe Third Country Agreement is constitutional, for now. Suffice to say, the ability for someone to claim asylum through Roxham Road has now largely been gutted, barring some exceptions. So today, Roxham Road is a much quieter place. The exact impacts of the updated STCA remain to be seen, but since March, the monthly number of asylum seekers apprehended between points of entry across Canada has dropped from the thousands to the dozens. It's too soon to call it the end of an era, but it is certainly a changed border. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe for more loving videos about Canadian law and issues. Have a good one.